what's the, I guess, how do you take what you did last week and move it into this week now as you're kind of wrapping up this stretch of non-conference? You want to like solidify some things, I'm sure, before you get into the Big Ten next week.
Yeah, some things that I think we definitely progressed in, and some others we need more progress. I thought through last weekend up until we dropped on Thursday, I thought our power play had been threatening, had been momentum gaining minutes for us, and I thought last weekend we took a half step back there. It exposed us a little bit that we've got to be better offensively, whether that's attacking the net, being aggressive at the net, finding ways to get second and thirds. You find with good goaltending, and we're going to face good goaltending every weekend, that if you don't take eyes and you don't make them have second and third saves, they're going to have a pretty good night. And Tracy did over those two games. But on the other side of it, I look at us as an entirety here of 4 games that have counted in one exhibition game. We've done a good job defending. We haven't given up a lot of 5-on-5 goals. And so there's depth throughout the lineup as far as guys that you can trust to throw over the boards when we don't have the puck. And so just trying to get a little bit more balance of, feeling comfortable with the puck, possessing the puck, and then having a little bit of a method to what we're doing in the offensive zone to take teams that swarm, which is a lot of them in college hockey right now, what they do in the defensive zone, and try and spread them out by changing sides and doing different things offensively. We started to create a little bit more, I thought, on Friday from our blue line. Joey Plotachuk had a couple of good looks. We had different guys that were playing below the goal line that caused some confusion, which we need to do offensively.
Ever see anyone go 15-0 for face-offs in a night and score his first goal? And it just seemed like for Talk that was what you need from everything you need from a guy playing in that role.
That was a first for me, to see somebody go out and be perfect off the dot. And what I think we're seeing with him is just he was prepared, and I think Calgary's got to take a lot of, credit for making sure that he was prepared to step into the role that he has stepped in for us. He's playing top 3, top 4 minutes as a forward. He's on a power play, and as you saw, he got elevated to that unit with Finley and Fitzgerald, and I thought he fit in just fine. So he had a really good weekend, and again, we've had some guys take steps. Now we need some more of those young guys to continue to take steps. Get a couple of our older guys a little bit more comfortable, and hopefully they can have some more success offensively while we're still taking care of our own end.
Sure. What have you seen in the first couple of weeks of Morrissey game? It's going to be tough for him to do what he did last year. Again, everyone knows him. Everyone's expecting bigger things out of him. How is he handling that? And what are you seeing out of the way he's put that on the ice?
We've talked about that a little bit. I think he because he is so diligent in what he does every day on the ice and off the ice, his expectation for success is a daily piece. And our game has shown sometimes that doesn't happen, and if it does, you're going to have to find different ways to be successsill. Teams are looking at it, and if you defend him and he stays off the score sheet, the opportunity to beat our club helps. It goes north. And so, he's just going through that, and it's something that we talked about over the summer on, having the freshman season that he had and coming into his second year. I found in the history of college hockey, that second year after a real good first year is a difficult one for the same reasons that we've talked about. But he's an incredibly mentally tough, stable young man, and now is just trying to fight through that and find different ways. He's stacking his days together, which I think will hopefully give him the confidence to be able to stack a Friday together and a Saturday after that.
With the changes in the goaltender room over the off season, what has been the importance, or just so impressive about what Daniel Hauser has been able to do so far for the team this year.
Well, we sat in here a month ago and we talked about what questions needed to be answered, and one of the biggest ones for us was going to be between the posts. And, you know, I don't want to be repetitive, but Daniel's done a really good job at knocking down his dailies. And, you know, coming off of an injury as severe that he had, there's going to be some questions of rust. I just think he's really showing a calmness to his game, a work ethic every day, whether we're in the weight room or we're out on the rink. He's got a competitive piece to him that speaks more than he does. He's not a real boisterous guy that's in the locker room. Hey, give me the box and I'll be the one that's running the music. He just kind of goes about his business, and he's really given us a calmness to our bench and in the locker room, but he's also pulled our bacon out of the fire a few times. And so that's provided us to play with a little bit more confidence, because we're not worried that if it goes over our blue line, it's going in the back of our net. And hopefully that can just continue to grow. We've got to give him a little bit more support. This last weekend, we asked him to almost be perfect. And you know, we've got to help him a little bit more that way, so that he doesn't have to put up the numbers that he's putting up right now for us to be successful.
One more. Your guys walked out of here last night thinking, or last weekend feeling like they'd won a couple of games because of the shootout went their way. Yeah. Obviously, that's not what the box score says, but in the levels they just came from, or the levels they're going to, that's the way it finishes. Is there anything in there you would like to see change? Would you like to see shootout results count for anything, in the final score? One, to explain that better, or two, in non-conference games to mean something in the, I guess we're talking NPI now?
You know what, I haven't given that a ton of thought, but I will tell you, I've been on the other side of that a year ago. And to have it cost what it cost in pairwise a year ago, I wasn't a fan of. Now, I truly believe I would have felt that way even if I was on the other side of the docket. Because to me, at that time, there should be, I get the idea, send somebody home a winner. But when you play 5-on-5 for 60, you play 3-on-3, and then you get to that shootout, I do think the metrics for that should shrink quite a bit on who wins and who loses, and is it 100% or is it 0%? And so to me, I'd like the idea of, if we're going to go across the board, that there is somebody that wins in that spot, because it does make a difference in conference for everybody. But at the end of the day, I want that to be minimal, because for that to be the deciding factor for somebody to move on to the NCAA tournament or not is a tough pill to swallow from an old guy.
Hey, Coach, kind of on top of Todd's question, how do you kind of digest these two games where you start slow but then are able to respond? Your guys show resilience. Like, what's your message to them? Kind of being proud of the way they fought back, but also knowing that you want to start a little bit quicker.
Yeah, we caused some of our own problems, and that's not a slight on Minnesota State at all, because I look at Friday's game, and when you start a game and you have to kill 9 minutes of the first period, boy, with a parity in college hockey, you're starting to put aces over in the other guy's deck of cards. So yeah, I am glad that we found a way to get it back to even. You wanted to finish that and have an opportunity or take an opportunity and win a hockey game from behind. We hadn't been in that situation prior to last weekend. Did we handle it perfectly? No. But did we fold a tent? No. We found a way against a very good defensive team to claw back into the game and get it back to even and put ourselves in a position to win a game. Now, what did it expose? We've got to be much better 3-on-3. The possession numbers in that situation wasn't in favor of us. Prior to that, possession numbers 5-on-5 an even number, we're definitely in our favor. So it's some wins and some losses, some experiences that you learn from that did not cost you a game. But very seldom when you take a 5-minute major in a third period in a tie ball game, does it not cost you a game? So we've talked about that, we've addressed it. I'm glad a young guy can learn from that without it scarring him any deeper than what it did. And then the opportunity for our power play to get on a 5-minute major and end the game and go for the throat was something we didn't take advantage of. So there's a lot of lessons at this time of the year. We just need to learn from them and then make sure the bar is where it's at today and we move forward from it and we're better because of it.